Okay, third grade, we're going to have our first math lesson on geometry. Geometry is the study of shapes. By now, you guys should have taken your Unit 5 test on multiplication and division. Congratulations, you did wonderful with that unit. I'm really proud of you guys. And you should have also taken the pre-assessment on geometry. And a lot of you are probably confused by those questions, probably really hard to tell which of those shapes was a rhombus or a trapezoid or a rectangle. Some of you might have already been familiar with those, and that's awesome, but this is going to be new to pretty much all of us. So this lesson, we're mostly going to talk about what a rectangle is and what a rectangle is not. And we're going to look at angles, we're going to look at parallel lines, we're going to use our Bridges curriculum online to help us with this. I'm going to be able to share my screen with you guys. I think it's going to help a lot, okay? So first, we're just going to talk about the word attributes. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. And here we go. Attributes. So attributes are like characteristics. When we talk about characteristics in reading, we talk about the character's traits, right? What they look like, what they like to do. And attributes, this word here, is like characteristics. We use the word attributes when we're doing math. So here are some of Miss Fisher's attributes. That's a different teacher. She has brown curly hair. She has blue eyes. She's a third grade teacher. She loves math and science. And she loves books by Mildred D. Taylor. Those are some attributes of Miss Fisher. Here are some attributes of something else. I have here a Easter egg. That's a little Easter egg ornament. So let's look at this, and why don't you tell the person next to you, what are some attributes of this egg? Maybe you're saying it's blue. Can you tell that it is sparkly? Maybe another attribute would be round, right? And maybe we could even say that it's 3D. We can hold it in our hand, right? It's not flat on a page, it's three-dimensional. Those are some attributes of this Easter egg. Great. So thinking about attributes of shapes, now we're going to talk about some attributes of rectangles, okay? We're gonna think about rectangles. Let me bring that up here. Rectangles. There's our geoboard we're gonna use. How do I reach? Oh, there we go. Nope, that's not it. What makes rectangles so special? Oh, there we go. Okay, I got it. Rectangles. Here is one of our cards. We usually have these up on our whiteboard. What is a rectangle? Here are some examples, and let's read about the attributes of a rectangle. A rectangle is a two-dimensional or a flat shape, not like the Easter egg, it's flat, like on a paper. A three-dimensional rectangle would be like a cube that you could hold in your hand, but a rectangle on paper is flat. It's two-dimensional. 2D means it's flat. It also has two pairs of parallel sides. Parallel sides. We're going to talk about what parallel means. And I want to draw a rectangle for you guys on our geoboard. This geoboard, I'm actually going to have a link so you guys can use it online. Let's start with some blue rubber bands. Let's make a rectangle real quick. Let's see. Go. And I'm going to make this side here. And I'm stretching my rubber bands. There's a rectangle right there, right? This is a rectangle. We're going to talk about how do we know that this is a rectangle. One way I know that this is a rectangle is because the sides are parallel. Let's look at what parallel means. Let's find it. Parallel. Shows you some examples of parallel lines right here. Parallel means they're always the same distance apart. Parallel lines are the same distance apart. So if we look back at our geoboard, let's get rid of a couple of these rubber bands. Let's look at this set of parallel lines. This line is 1 2 pegs away, right? There's 1 peg in the middle that separates these two. If I bring this rubber band like this, do you notice that over here there's 1 peg in the middle, right? It's 2 pegs away. But over here it's closer together. These rubber bands are closer together, and these rubber bands are really close together. There's no pegs in the middle. They're really, really close. These rubber bands are definitely not parallel. See how this distance is totally different than this distance? These 2 rubber bands are really close together over here. If I ever have rubber bands that cross each other and make an X, that is never parallel. Parallel lines never cross each other. That is definitely not parallel. Parallel lines have to be the same distance. And if we look at our other lines for that rectangle we made a second ago, whoops, I'll just do this. Stretch my rubber band over here. Here's another set of parallel lines, right? They're the same distance apart. If I move this, those are not parallel because these are now really close together and this is really far apart. Parallel means the same distance. Let's look back at our definition now. A rectangle is flat and it has 2 pairs of parallel sides, which means it has 4 sides total, right? This is not a rectangle right now, but if I add more rubber bands like before, and I have 4 sides, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I have a rectangle. 4 sides, and it has 4 right angles. 4 right angles. Let's talk about that. What is a right angle? Here are some examples of a right angle. A right angle is an angle with a measure of exactly 90 degrees. 90 degrees. We actually talked about this a little bit in number corner. Some of you might remember. So let's look over here. Let's use a different color. Let's use red. Here's a rubber band. I'm going to create a 90-degree angle. See right here? There are 90 points of degrees between this line and this line. This is a 90-degree angle. A 90-degree angle really looks like a square or a rectangle shape, right? This is a 90-degree angle. It's called a right angle. A right angle is 90 degrees, and it looks like a square or rectangle. There are other kinds of angles too. There are acute angles. Acute means less than 90 degrees. It has to be bigger than 0, but it could be a lot less than 90. An acute angle is a tiny angle. If you think about the word cute, like you see a cute little puppy or a cute little baby or a cute little flower, an acute angle is a tiny angle. Do you see how little this angle is? It's much smaller. This amount of space is much tinier, right? This amount of space is much bigger. This is exactly 90 degrees. This is a right angle. This is what we see in rectangles. But this is a tiny little acute angle. All right? And there's another kind of angle called an obtuse angle. Some of you guys are thinking, oh, I've already heard of that. I already know about that. That's awesome. An obtuse angle is bigger than 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is more than 90 degrees. Obtuse means big. Obtuse. So let's see here. Here's my 90-degree angle. I'm going to bring my rubber band. I'm going to stretch it over here. This is now an obtuse angle. Really big. This is an obtuse angle. There's a lot of room there. Here's my right angle that I use for rectangle. Here's my acute little angle. And here's my obtuse angle. It's really big. Okay? Awesome. So let's review. My rectangles are flat. They're 2D, two-dimensional. They have 2 pairs of parallel sides. And they have 4 right angles. Let's just practice for a minute. Let's come back to our geoboard here, and you guys can use this geoboard at home on your computer. I'll have the link for you on Google Classroom, okay, with this assignment. So you can play around with the rubber bands. You could choose different colors. Let's do yellow this time. Gonna make another rectangle. Let's see. I know that my rectangle needs to have right angles, so that's good. There's a right angle right there. Whoops. Let me stretch my rubber band over here. Look, I made another right angle. And I'm gonna do another rubber band. There I go. I have 4 right angles, so each 90 degrees. And my lines are parallel to each other. They're the same distance apart. And my shape is flat. I can't pick this up and hold it in my hand, right? So my shape is flat. Awesome. So I just created a rectangle. Quick question. Is this a rectangle? Tell the person next to you, is this a rectangle? No, it's not. This is not a real shape because there's an opening. It's not closed. A shape has to be closed like this. Has to be closed. What about this? Is this a rectangle? Tell the person next to you. Nope, this is not a rectangle. Just like the other one, this is open. This is an open shape. There's a hole in it. So it's not a real shape at all. I have to close this and make it into a real rectangle, okay? Go ahead and grab your math student workbooks. If you don't already have them, you should be on page 188, okay? 188. Grab your math student workbooks, the ones I sent home with you guys, page 188. We're gonna look at what makes a rectangle so special, okay? All quadrilaterals, we've talked about that word before. Quadrilaterals have 4 sides and 4 corners. Quadrilateral has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. So what makes a rectangle special? We just talked about that. They're showing you in this circle, these are all rectangles, and they're showing you over here, these are not rectangles. These are not rectangles. Look, this one looks like the one we just made on the geoboard. That's not open, it's like open, it's not closed, right? It's not a real shape. And this silly one has like a round, is rounded, doesn't even have corners. That's definitely not a rectangle, right? And if you look at these ones don't have all parallel lines, and they don't have 90-degree angles. These all look like some really good rectangles. So let's look at number 1. List at least 4 attributes, characteristics, that are shared by all the shapes in the rectangle group. What makes a rectangle? Why don't you talk to the person next to you if you're with somebody, or you can talk to yourself. What are 4 attributes that are shared by all of the rectangles? What makes a rectangle, basically? You could think back to this card. How do you know these are rectangles? If you need to pause the video, you can. I'm going to move on to give you the answer, okay? Here are some examples. You only need to write 4 of these. You don't have to write all of this red letters down, okay? You don't have to write all of these red letters down. You could say that they have 4 straight sides. You could say that they have 4 corners. You could say that if you cut them equally, they would be squares or triangles. You could cut them. You could say that all of these shapes have parallel sides. These rectangles have parallel sides. You could say that they're closed, not open, right? Closed means they don't have any holes. And you could say that they have 90-degree angles. So choose 4 of these. You need to have 1, 2, 3, 4 ideas here for number 1 and write them down now. You can pause the video if you need time to write all those down. Okay, and then I'm going to move on to the next one. So pause the video if you need time to write all of those examples down. Okay, let's look at number 2. List at least 4 reasons that the shapes in the not rectangles group can't be in the rectangles group. Basically, they're asking you, why are these not rectangles? Why? Why are these not rectangles? You need 4 reasons, 4 details. Why are those not rectangles? Here's a word bank you can use to help you with spelling if you need it. You can go ahead and tell the person next to you, think about it, discuss it. What are some reasons that these are definitely not rectangles? I'm going to give you the answer now, so you can pause the video if you need more time to talk. Okay, so here are some reasons that they are not rectangles. None of them have 4 right angles. Let's look at that. Wow, none of them have 4 right angles. This one has 1, 2 right angles, but this angle is obtuse and this angle is acute. That's a good answer. None of them have 4 right angles. One of them is open instead of closed. It has a hole in it. One of them has a curved side, more like a circle. I know circles and rectangles are not the same. Some of them aren't symmetrical, which means you can't fold them in half perfectly. And some of them don't have 2 parallel sides. Some of them are not parallel. The lines are different distances. They cross over each other. They're not parallel. So you can go ahead and pause the video if you need to and write down some of those ideas. You need to have at least 4. Okay, great. We're going to move on to page 189. Page 189, let's see if I can bring it up. Go here. Okay, shape sorting, page 189. So we have group A and group B, and you're going to circle the shapes that belong in group B. And I have the answers here right here for you. This shape and this shape belong in group B. Why? Go ahead and tell the person next to you, think about it. Why do those shapes belong in group B? Look at what group A shapes all have in common. Maybe count the sides of group A. You can pause the video if you need more time to talk. The shapes in group A each have 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all quadrilaterals. They all have four sides. And this one's actually a rectangle. Group B, this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. And this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. So I can look at these shapes. This one has 5 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one has 5 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go ahead and circle those 2. This one only has 3 sides. This one has 4 sides. And this one has 6 sides, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these 2 shapes belong in group B because they have 5 sides, like these. Does anyone know what a shape is called that has 5 sides? It's called a pentagon. Some of you might have said that. What do the shapes in group B have in common? They all have 5 sides. Make sure you write that down. If you need more time to write it down, pause the video. And number 2, how can you tell if a shape is a hexagon? A hexagon has 6 sides. Go ahead and write that down. A hexagon has 6 sides. And you're going to circle all the hexagons below. I'll give you a minute to go ahead and do it before I give you the answers. Circle all the hexagons, all of the shapes that have 6 sides. Pause the video if you need more time. I'm going to show you the answers. Those are all your hexagons. So you're going to circle those hexagon shapes. Okay, so I'm going to have the link here for you. I encourage you guys to play with the rubber bands on that geoboard on your computer using that link. Try to make as many different rectangles as you can. Use different colors of rubber bands. See if you can make a pentagon or a hexagon. Okay, see if you can make an acute angle and an obtuse angle. Just play around with that, okay? I'm not going to grade you on using the geoboard, but it's going to be really, really good practice for you, all right? We're not going to practice on Khan Academy yet with geometry. We're going to have a couple more lessons in student workbook pages first, but later you will be working on Khan Academy again to do some geometry lessons, okay? I'm really proud of you guys for watching this whole video and doing your work. You should have page 188 and page 189 finished, okay? And you can show me on Google Classroom that you finished those pages by choosing yes. Okay, you don't have to take photos of those pages and send them to me. Alrighty? All right, well, let me know if you guys have any questions. And I miss you guys. I miss hearing your voices, but hopefully we'll be able to do some more Google Hangouts where we can all spend time together. Okay, all right, thanks so much, bye.